Sure. Here's a 1,500 word love story for you. Title: A Journey to the Heart. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon when Emma first met Ryan. She was sitting at her usual spot in the cafe, nursing a cup of steaming coffee and reading a novel. The warm hum of conversations around her was comforting, as was the rhythmic tap of rain on the windows. It was the kind of weather that made her feel cozy, as though the world outside didn't matter. Her quiet afternoon was disrupted when the door to the cafe swung open with a loud chime. A man, drenched from the rain, stepped inside, shaking off his umbrella as he stepped to the counter. Emma glanced up briefly before returning her attention to her book, but her curiosity got the better of her, and she couldn't help but watch him out of the corner of her eye. He was tall, with tousled brown hair, his sharp features softened by a kind smile. He ordered a black coffee, and as he waited for it to be prepared, he scanned the room before his eyes landed on Emma. She quickly looked away, hoping he hadn't noticed her gaze, but when she looked back up, he was walking toward her table. "Is this seat taken?" he asked with a gentle smile. Startled, Emma looked around. The cafe was bustling, but the table beside her was empty. She blinked a few times before replying, "Oh no. Feel free." Ryan sat down, placing his coffee on the table. "I hope I'm not disturbing you. I just saw you sitting here and thought I'd join you." Emma smiled politely, but didn't know what else to say. She wasn't used to unexpected encounters, especially with strangers. She was an introvert, often preferring the company of books and her own thoughts to the chatter of the world, but something about Ryan made her feel comfortable, like there was no need for pretenses. "I'm Emma," she said after a pause, offering her hand. "Ryan," he replied, shaking her hand firmly. There was a quiet warmth to his touch that made her feel instantly at ease. They sat in silence for a few moments, Emma unsure whether to continue reading her book or engage in conversation. Ryan, noticing her hesitation, broke the silence. "So, what's the book?" he asked. "Oh, it's just a romance novel," Emma replied. "Nothing special." Ryan's eyebrows lifted in surprise. "Nothing special?" "I'm a sucker for romance stories. You can't just dismiss them like that." Emma laughed lightly. "I suppose you're right. I just meant it's not some deep philosophical piece of literature. It's just something I like to escape into." "I get that," Ryan said, nodding. "Sometimes a little escape is exactly what we need." They fell into an easy conversation after that, chatting about books, movies, and their favorite ways to spend a rainy afternoon. Emma found herself relaxing, her usual guard slipping away in his presence. There was something about him, his genuineness, the way he listened, the humor in his voice, that made her feel like she was talking to an old friend, not a stranger she had just met. As the conversation continued, Emma discovered that Ryan was new to the city. He had moved here for work and was still getting used to the pace and rhythms of urban life. They talked about their favorite spots in the city, their work, and even their childhoods. Emma learned that Ryan had a younger sister whom he adored, and Ryan learned that Emma had a deep love for art, spending much of her free time at local galleries. Before long, the rain outside had stopped, and the cafe had begun to empty. Ryan glanced at his watch and stood up. "I guess I should get going, but it was really nice talking to you, Emma. I'd love to continue this conversation sometime." Emma was surprised at how quickly time had passed. "I agree," she said. "It was nice meeting you." Ryan hesitated for a moment, then pulled out a pen and a napkin. He scribbled something on the napkin and handed it to her. "My number. If you ever want to grab a coffee again, just let me know." Emma took the napkin, feeling a flutter of warmth in her chest. "I will," she said softly. And just like that, Ryan was gone, leaving Emma with a strange feeling in her heart. She wasn't sure what it was, but there was a part of her that couldn't shake the thought of him. She had met so many people in her life, but something about Ryan had felt different. She smiled to herself as she tucked the napkin into her bag, feeling as though something beautiful was just beginning. Over the next few weeks, Emma found herself thinking about Ryan more and more. She hadn't contacted him right away. unsure whether he was simply being polite or genuinely interested in getting to know her. But she couldn't deny the spark she had felt when they had talked. He had a way of making her feel seen, something she rarely experienced in the busy city life. Finally, one afternoon, she sent him a text. "Hey Ryan, it's Emma from the cafe. Would you like to grab a coffee sometime?" To her surprise, he replied, "Allez."